Page 24, what child is this? 3/4 time signature. There's one sharp in the key signature. This piece is kind of hard to tell. It depends on the arrangement. Make sure you can do the G major scale and the E minor scale. That also has one sharp in it. So I got scale videos on those. Just go do that, at least one octave up and down. That familiarizes you with what notes are in the key, which helps here. Of course, we got accidentals, but still it helps. You get used to playing F sharps all the time when you're thinking those keys. Now this is 3 pages long. Let's take a look. First the right hand, make sure that we got the, I don't think the rhythms are a problem, but I have some suggestion on the fingering. See, when I first learn a piece of music, I try and finger it in a way I can play it all legato with the fingers, because that tends to help me come up with a more solid fingering. I'm not moving the hands around so much. So at the beginning, now they want you here, and then they want you to come up. I'm going to suggest we just stay here. So we're not moving around. No, just stay here. And that means you're going to just bring the little finger up, and you do 3, 4, 5. So again, for the beginning, it's here, and then going up, just little finger comes up. And then for measure 6, I'm going to move during the rest. So I'm going to come down one, so I'm going to use second finger there. Here. They want you to stay here and then move. I think that's tricky. But why not just move during the rest and be done with it? Here. So that's what I'm going to recommend. Then going on where the words are, this is where the song actually starts. Second finger. 1, 2. 1 and 2. 1. Hopefully you understand dotted rhythms. If not, please go back to the method book on dotted rhythms and get them. I've given numerous lessons on pieces with dotted rhythms. You go over to page 25. It's the measures 23 and 24. Dotted half notes. First one's with fourth finger because you're in this position. And then thumb. And the reason for that is, again, we take advantage of the repeated notes to change hand positions, because in measure 25 we want this. Actually, I'm going to suggest that, because you're here. I can reach up now and get it. You can do 3, 5 if you want, but I'm going to do 4, 5, and then 3, 5. Again, I'm taking advantage of the repeated notes to change, and so so 4, 5. You can do 3, 5 on both if you want. I like to do this. It's more fun. Now, they want you to come down here for measure 27 here. No, I don't recommend. I want to connect it as best I can. So I'm going to recommend here. Stay here and just do it. 1, 2. I know it puts you up here, but it's just temporary, because then I can do a 3. Just lift up and do a 3 here. Here, and now you're on. And then measure 29, they want you to do a 3, 5. That doesn't work. I'm on 3 here. So I'm going to do a 2, 5, and then a 3. So it's a 2, 5 for measure 29 here, and then a 3 for the quarter note, because I don't want to go from here to here. Yuck. Measure 32, you're down here. You got to lift up because that's quite a stretch. So you come up. And you can do the 4, 5 again if you want, or 3, 5, whichever. I do 4. And then for measure 35, again, I'm going to do 1, 2, and then a 3 on the quarter note. And then measure 37, thumb, crossover. And then measure 40 is a thumb again. This way we're a little closer to where we want to be up here. It doesn't really matter because there's a beat rest. You got plenty of time to move. So you can use fourth finger on both of those and then come up. I like the idea of using different fingers on repeated notes. Not everybody does. Some people just avoid it, but I encourage it. Then measure 41 is like it was at the beginning, sort of. And then for measure 46, now 2. Just come down here. Don't wait until you get to here. Just come down now. And then for measure 49, again, 3, 4, 5. So I'm staying here in this position. It's like it was at the beginning. Now left hand, broken chords really, but we're finger pedaling these. You see in the first measure the E is half note. If I play all the notes without any ties or nothing, it's... But with the ties, I'm holding the notes down. I'm finger pedaling. I'm here. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And you think, what's the point? The pedal's going to do it for you. Why hold it down with the hand? Why not that? A part of piano playing is feeling the music. Now, that's hard to do with piano because sometimes we just can't. But finger pedaling lets us hear and feel this harmony. We want this first note in each of these measures is the most important note in that measure in the left hand. We want to hang on to it with the hand. So finger pedal it. Then when you get to measure 8 here, it's the same thing. We're finger pedaling all these notes. They're tied. Hang on to them. 1 and 2. They're all down. All the way through. Just a bunch of broken chords. Measure 15, I do a 5, 3, 2. And then the next one is a 5, 2, 1. That way the whole, really it's this, but you can use third finger if you want. Then come back. Then for measure 23, you're here. Thumb comes up. Here. I'm not crazy about having. You can do that. So you're in this position. Is what it is. It's 5, 4, 2. Lets you connect them. As I said, one of the reasons I use a legato fingering at first is because it serves well. And this makes me figure out a legato fingering for this, because that fingering is kind of choppy. It feels choppy, but I can connect it. And this is a rather connected piece, a flowing piece. So I want to feel flowing as I'm playing it. Then going on, measure 25 is just another broken chord pattern. We're not holding any of these notes down. We don't need to. Same chords we've had before, it's just a different pattern. We get to page 26, down toward the bottom. Let's say measure 49, you're down here. Back to, you've been finger pedaling again, of course. And then just lift up and come up. And then treble clef for the B and the D, and then bass clef again. It makes more sense when I put the hands together, which I can do right now. Huh? Here. Now remember, when you go to put the hands together, you're going to hesitate. You got to stop and figure out what's going on, because I'm finger pedaling this. I'm holding them down, but not this. So it's here, here, those. You get the idea. It's. I don't want to play it all for you. You can put the hands together. Just take your time with it. Page 26 toward the bottom, the last line here. You're up here and here. Let's start with measure 48. You're here. Your finger pedaling the left hand. It's a little tricky sometimes in reading the music. It's misleading. Measure 49, you'll see in the right hand you have the F sharp G. You see the sharp sign right in front of the F? That sharp sign is part of the key signature. They're not telling you that it's an accidental. It's part of the key signature. Well, you're going to play an F sharp anyway. It just happens to work out. It just looks like an accidental they put in front of the F. It's not. So it's here. So again, measure 48. And then eighth notes. Just work those notes out one at a time. It tells you from the stems going up and down who's playing what, although they also put it in different staffs. A lot of times they put it all in one staff and you have to follow the stems. But it's the left hand's doing the first one, then the right hand does those notes, and then the left hand is over here, and then the right hand here. And then that's tied while you play that. But the eighth note's got to be even. In fact, everything here, you got to work out the hesitation then so it's all even. And the beat goes on there at the end. The last line is 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. So the tendency is to hold out that second beat on the set here. You want to hold that out. I want to go. It's just one beat long. And then you have a retardando there. Poco retardando. You just slow down a little bit, not a lot. Now work out the hesitations, get rid of those, and then the articulation, it's all connected. In the left hand, connect it all. The right hand, you can lift up between the phrases here. Lift up. Well, if you use thumb on both, you have to lift up. That's okay. Lift up in the right hand between the phrases, and the left hand, keep it down. Dynamics apply to the melody, although on the introduction where it's not, there's no melody, and at the end where there's no melody, it's both hands. Whatever you think moderately soft is, MP, mezzo, piano, just sort of saw. And then in the left hand, I suggest you just stay at moderately soft. Now you're moderately loud in the right hand, and the left hand stays in the background. Whatever you think moderately soft or moderately loud is, I can't play and talk at the same time, but moderately loud. You don't get another dynamic until measure 25. Well, once you get to know it, you can get a little louder and softer if you feel it. You don't have to stay exactly at that. But in measure 25, now you're loud in the right hand. Left hand is still in the background. And you're staying loud until measure 39 when you have the hairpin to bring it back down. You just come down to moderately soft. That's loud and then moderately soft. Or maybe, I don't know, moderately soft. Come softer, softer, softer. So the left hand does most of the getting softer because you're not doing much in the right. And the right hand now, there at measure 40, has a rest on beat 3. That's fine because you got to come up, but the left hand doesn't. Well, the left hand isn't moving. So again, it's here. 3, you hold that down, and then, and moderately loud at measure 41's both hands are now. But when you get up here, it's harder to play louder. It just gets soft by itself. So in order to sound moderately loud, you may have to almost play it loud. But this, we want to balance this and this so they're the same. Well, that usually means you got to play this a little louder. It's just the way the piano works. And you're staying moderately loud until measure 48, where you come down a little bit and down to moderately soft. Whatever you think moderately soft is. And then you're getting softer, slow down, back down to soft. I think you can go to very soft. And this last chord, I would go very soft. Because when I play this, I don't want to drown out that. I want to still hear this when I play that. I want to hear it all. So this last chord pretty much has to be very soft. Don't use the soft pedal. That's cheating now. You gotta learn to do this with the hands. It's a nice gentle stroke with the hand. Just real, how soft can you learn to play? This is one of the things you can practice when you're doing the scales. How soft can you play a scale? Now, it's a, how, just so you can hardly hear it. It kind of depends on the piano too, because if the piano isn't very good shape, it's not gonna work. But try and get where you can play these really soft with the hands. That's the kind of control we're after. As far as speed goes, andante cantabile. Andante is kind of a leisure stroll, and cantabile is a singing style. So it's up. You've heard recordings of this. Just how fast you want to play it. I'd play at a different speed every time I play it. So who knows? Don't drag it, because on piano, if you drag it, it doesn't fit. I mean, the piano, the notes. It just drags, and you think, is it over yet? And be aware of these rests in the right hand at the beginning. Rest, rest, but the left hand stays down. Rest, rest. And you think, well, the pedal covers it up anyway. Yeah, we'll see. Speaking of the pedal, they're keeping it simple. It's overlapping pedal. They're changing it with each measure. And in the second line there, around measure 7, you see the word simile. That's what it means. Keep doing what you've been doing in a similar style. And what it applies to depends on where it is in the music, because it can apply to different things. This is down next to the pedal line, so it applies to the pedal. They're just telling you keep pedaling it this way. Saves them having to mark it in all the way. Well, if you want to hear phrasing, you got to lift it up in the right hand with the phrasing, or it'll cover up the phrasing, like in measure 16 down. It covers it up. So if you lift it with the right hand, you can hear it. Because you're holding these notes down, you don't lose them. This way, there's a little silence in the right hand. That little things like that is what I'm after. And at the beginning, if you want to hear the rest in the right hand, lift the pedal up. Rest. Now, on here, in order to connect it, I need the pedal. So what I got to do here is I got to push the pedal down here. I play the notes first, then the pedal. I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand so I get the rest, but then I got to put the pedal right back down so I can connect the left hand. So the pedal's up just long enough to lose the right hand. Measure 24, I'm going to lift the pedal up so there's a little silence before I go on, both hands. And on measure 25 and 26, you don't need to change the pedal down. You can if you want to, but the harmony isn't changing. You can leave the pedal down through both of those measures if you want. Measure 32, lift the pedal up with the hand so you get a little silence again. It's like taking a breath. Then on page 26, again, I'm going to pedal it like I did at the beginning. Starting with measure 40, you're here. I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand so I hear the rest, and then we'll put the pedal back down so I can connect the left hand. and leave it down all the way across. We want all of these notes sounding, all of them. So at the end, you're just kind of listening to all that mess and enjoying it. Yeah. Now there is a page turn here, obviously. And if you're going to play this for people, you got to deal with that because you can't mess up the rhythm because you're turning the page. The rhythm stays going on. And both hands are busy, so what do? There's a few things we can do. The best thing is, always the first choice is you memorize it. Or at least memorize page 26. You don't have to worry about it. But better to memorize the whole thing. Other than that, maybe there's somebody there who can turn the page for you. That works too. I've had that done. And I've turned pages for other people too. Otherwise, we're pretty much stuck with leaving out notes because there's no rest other than maybe for one beat. Because normally maybe you can turn page during a rest where one hand or the other gets a rest. You turn page. There isn't any rests in here. It's all going. Which means we've got to leave out beats. We don't want to leave out, which means we got to leave out notes. We don't want to leave out notes. That's like the last resort. Well, you can't leave out melody notes. We got to have that. So what you end up being is pick somewhere either at the bottom of page 25 or at the top of page 26. You decide where the left hand is going to turn the page while the right hand continues to play the melody. And you can pick where, but don't mess up the beat. And how many notes you leave out depends on how quickly you can turn the page and get your left hand back down there to the keyboard. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. I cannot legally tell you to make a copy of that's not legal. It's copyrighted music. You can't copy it. So it would be nice if they would have given another page in there where you could fold it out or something where you could see all 3 pages at one time. But they didn't do that. Now at the top of page 26, on measure 37, the pedal can help you out because you can play the notes and then you have about a beat and a half to get the page turned before you got to do the next left hand. To do that. Maybe you can do that. If you can turn it then that works too. You have to decide where you're going to turn the page. You don't have to turn the page exactly at that spot. You can make it a few measures before or after. You just got to memorize those few measures so you can get the page turned. Now on this pedaling, I'm suggesting if that's too complicated for you, then just pedal it the way it's shown. That's fine. It's a choice. What do you like to hear and how complicated you want to get it? Yeah. I'd like to play this with you very slowly. Let's double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to play both hands about the same. I can't do the page turn. So I'm going to count us in for page 24. And we're going to do pages 24 and 25. And then we're going to stop. Then I'm going to turn the page. And then I'm going to give us another 3 beats. Count us in again. And then we'll do page 26 to the end. I'm going to pedal it as I suggested. You can pedal it however you see fit, or however your teacher sees fit. That's good too. 1, ready, and go. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, turn the page. 1, ready, go.